What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again, and just like last time, it's been a little while since my last video, so ahead of time I do once again apologize for that. But I've got some big news. We've got version 0.15 of Operation Trebuchet finally out here. This one's kind of a mixed bag for me. I'll get into that a little bit later here, but let's go ahead and check out this stuff first. And then there was also a big update for Opcan, which I'll show you near the end of the video, or after I show you all the Optre stuff here. So, you know what, actually, now that I think about it, give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up the patch notes so that I got something to go off of. Sorry about that. So the first list of changes is regarding the MA5 series of weapons. So they've removed the original assault rifle from the game, and they've replaced it with 3 versions of the assault rifle: the MA37, which is the Halo Reach assault rifle, and then the MA5K, which was from Optre Z. So all the Optre Z stuff has made it into the game, but so Optre Z currently has nothing new in it. It should be deactivated or removed from your mods if you're using it currently, because it just creates duplicates and may create bugs. So let's go ahead, let's see. So the first weapon we've got is the MA37. So something I kind of questioned in the last video I did, I think, is I kind of asked, well, what will happen if the old MAs are removed? You know, will we still have grenade launchers? The answer is yes. All these MA variants, except for the 5K, have grenade launcher variants with them. It works just like the old assault rifle did. So you press F, it flips up this reticule for the grenade launcher. It switches to that. The MA37 is currently not 100% complete. It's missing its ammo counter right now. It is an iron sight weapon. It fires a little bit slower than the others, and its recoil is not quite as bad. It does use iron sights. It does have a working rail system. And something you'll notice is if you played the last version, or last couple versions, we didn't have access to vanilla scopes or add-on scopes from other mods. That's once again been given back to us, so you can use Optre scopes on this if you wanted. So you could, you know, use your sniper scope for some reason if you wanted to do that. But you can also go in and use all these other scopes as well. I'm gonna go ahead and we're just gonna use iron sights on most of these weapons. I'll show you what the scopes look like, but we're gonna use iron sights just so you guys get an idea what the iron sights look like on these. So you can see fairly basic iron sights, but that's okay, I guess. I mean, you know, it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. Oh, I forgot I have Ace on, so I apologize. Our ears are going to be ringing. Let's see if I have any earplugs on. I do. Okay. So you can see it doesn't fire quite as fast as the old assault rifle did. I'm not sure if it's got more or less stopping power because the rounds are slightly different, I think, from some of these. I'm not positive if all these use the same rounds or not. So I know some do, some don't. So we've got the standard version with the flashlight, of course. Silencer. I've got a couple other attachments. I actually don't see these adding on here, so it looks like it's got the laser somewhere, but I don't actually see that working. So then up next we have the MA5A, which this one actually does have working attachments. So this one was actually created by Zero. The MA37 was by Zephyr Souza. This one you can see same working rail system. This one's a more completed state. This is basically the same as the MA5B, except for it doesn't have the ammo counter. The MA5B does not have a removable ammo counter. The removable ammo counter was taken out, so if the weapon has an ammo counter by default, that cannot be changed. With that being said, the ammo counter stuff does still have working rail systems as well. So you can see the iron sights on this one's a little bit more advanced. There's a little bit more to it. So I guess that's the counter the fact that there is not a rail system for scopes and stuff like that. And this one fires much faster than the 37. You know, countering it, it's not too bad. I believe this one's a 60-round magazine, like I said. Let's just verify that real quick. It is, in fact, a 60-round magazine. So yeah, this one's kind of neat. Hopefully we'll be seeing this on, like, Colonial Guardians and stuff. I know Opcan's changed some of its units, but most of them are using the MA37 right now. Of course, the flashlight variant, just like the 37. We've got the MA5B, with and without grenade launcher. This one, here's the standard sights for it. They're pretty basic too. Unfortunately, these iron sights can't be removed, so you can't have a iron sightless ammo counter. I know a lot of people were a big fan of that, even though it's less efficient or less effective for a game like Arma to have no iron sights. It was more lore friendly, so unfortunately you can't get rid of these. Thankfully, they're pretty minimalistic. You can't really see them from a distance. I mean, you can barely see them, but it's just barely. Ammo counter does work, of course. Yeah, there's a lot more detail in this weapon. And let's go ahead and switch out, and we'll show you how the ammo counter works for that one. So this is based off the Halo 5 design, where they put the scope system in. So there's like a little removable piece on here that comes off, and you can attach your scopes to the top there. There is also no SmartLink scope, which is kind of sad. So you do have to use the scopes with this. I'm a little saddened by that. I definitely am. I like the SmartLink scope. I don't know. It's a good-looking weapon. Just having most of these scopes on here just doesn't feel right to me. You know, I'm a fan of the older Halo games, and well, it's a good design. It makes sense to have that on there. It just doesn't seem right. But let's go ahead and keep going. We have 2 more MA5 weapons left. The next one's the MA5C. The 5C and the 5B are pretty difficult to distinguish right now by just looking at them. This is supposed to be a lighter finish, and I guess that's an issue with the materials that wasn't expected when it was imported in-game. These weapons were finished quite a long time ago, but the person who did them I don't believe was the guy who got them in-game. I believe Scorch put them in-game, but they were made by Zero. So this is supposed to be silver. The big differences on this weapon is that this has a 32 round magazine like the MA37, and it fires slower than the other one. You can see the recoil actually looks a little bit worse on this than the 5B, although that could just be because the 5B is throwing so many more rounds down, it's hard to tell where they're hitting. From my understanding, though, the rounds are supposed to be a little bit more powerful for this than they are on the B. With that being said, so basically the B is like a really light machine gun, and then the 5C is more of a conventional assault rifle. And then lastly, we have the MA5K, which was from Optre Z. I've shown this weapon off before. This is definitely one of my favorite weapons from the update, especially now that I can actually have scopes and stuff. You know, so this is a pretty basic looking weapon, but you throw some scopes and a silencer on there, this thing just looks mean and sounds mean. You know, so let's go ahead, we'll throw the M7, that's the machine gun, or the SMG scope on there, throw a silencer on there, and look at this thing. Recoil is a lot worse than a lot of the other weapons. It runs out of ammo much faster, but in close quarters, this weapon is just devastating to everybody. You know, this is a nice weapon to have if, like, you're a tank driver or pilot or something like that. You just need something for personal defense up close. I think this is probably a better weapon system than the SMG, personally. Up close, the SMG I think is a little bit more versatile when it comes to range, as odd as that might sound for a submachine gun, versus something that's supposed to be a stripped down assault rifle. But this thing, it just throws around so fast. I really think this is my personal favorite weapon. Like I said, it just looks cool with those new attachments. So that's the new MA5s. So there's a lot of them. This is probably the best part of the update, in my opinion. As these new weapon systems, because these are going to be what gets used the most, is these new assault rifles. Switching down, we've got the SRS-99C sniper rifle. So we've got the original sniper rifle, which was the SRS-99D variant, S2. This one, a lot of people didn't like. They said it didn't look that good. I thought it looks fine. I mean, they did go through and redetail it at one point. It's still not quite as detailed as some of the newer weapons, to be sure, but this is an awesome weapon. It's really devastating. I haven't tried the 99C in combat since the update. I just know that when it was in Optre Z, it had a lot of issues. It was it tended to overheat really fast and ace, and it wasn't as effective as killing people as the 99D. Now, the 99D is supposed to be better against infantry, and the C is better against vehicles, even though it's a smaller weapons platform. But I haven't tested this, so I don't really know how it works. I did shoot at some objects. It does seem to take longer to overheat. They did fix the issue with the floating stuff as far as I can tell. Because if you guys didn't use Optre Z, there was a bunch of like floating parts on this weapon in that, which bear in mind Optre Z is basically supposed to be a very work in progress early release build of Zephyr Souza stuff. So that's the 99C. It's a cool weapons platform. It can only use the one scope though. Unlike the other weapons, it can only use its own scope. And that's the same thing with the D, as it can only use its own Oracle scope. These aren't even interchangeable between the two platforms themselves. So up next, actually, you know what? I'm going to switch to a lighter weapon. We're going to switch to... Actually, we'll probably just go without the weapons. So up next is the Bison. Why is my guy walking? There we go. So the Bison is another Optre Z update. Some people have experienced bugs with these. We don't really know what was caused by, where all the doors and stuff were broken. That does not seem to be the case. There isn't really any changes from Optre Z, so since I've shown this off before, I'm not going to get into it again. We do have the two versions, the main gun system and the IFV, which is a 40mm on this one and a 90mm cannon respectively. We've got the Scorpion battle tank. This one too hasn't really seen any changes. Unfortunately, I was kind of unhappy to see the driver's vision was fine, but the gunner's vision here was pretty awful, because unless you're like right-clicked in to actually see the camera on the turret, you can't see anything. You're too low to see through that window, and you're too high to see your cameras in just your normal vision. So you have to always be in that camera. And like I said, that just makes this a very vulnerable vehicle without help, because if something comes up in a direction different than the turret, unless it's just the right angle for the driver to see it, this thing's really easy to ambush. It takes a few hits to kill it. It might kill you even if you ambush it, but you know, you still gotta be really careful, because ambush is what this thing's gotta be really vulnerable to. So next we've got holotable objects. So we've got a few of them. We've got this AI ball, which I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's got a really neat texture and moves with you. I'm not really sure if this is supposed to... Oh, gosh. I'm inside of it. Get out there, gosh. That'll make you sick. It's pretty neat. Not sure what that's supposed to be for. I know they were talking a lot about... I think, was it Sage was the AI? I can't remember all of a sudden. But... haven't heard much. They deactivated it on the Discord because people corrupted it. We did get some new holotable objects, like I said, though. So if you want to have like pre-mission briefings, they added a number of different objects for the holotable. So the first is the Airdanis system. The next is a AI holo chip. We've got the frigate, a longsword, and a pelican. Now the sizing on these I don't think really matches up. I haven't flown the pelican next to the frigate in a while, but I'm pretty sure the frigate's a lot smaller in comparison to the pelican than this. And I actually am not sure if these are to scale or not, but I feel like in the actual Halo games the pelican was still a lot bigger compared to the frigate, because the longsword could just barely fit out of one of the bigger bays on the Halcyon class, but I could be wrong. Up next we've got the LAU-65B static missile pod. This is the Halo 3 missile pod. I've shown this off before too. This is a lock-on missile system. It's got a lot of missiles in there. It's got 8 rounds in a single thing, and they fire off pretty darn rapidly. It's useless unless you lock onto an air vehicle, so it's not any good against anything other than aerial targets, but against aerial targets it will wreck their day. Hopefully the new update with the sensor suites and stuff from the Jets update will help kind of counter that, but we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I haven't had much chance for any combat on any of this stuff. I've been kind of playing around with it, checking it out, checking some bugs and stuff out. So they've got a couple new terrains, which I'll show off in a little bit. I don't have access to that right now. New interior pieces to be used in future terrains. So I'll actually show you this stuff off to you guys. So we're going to take one of these new Warthogs down here. These are just reskins on the Insurrectionist Warthogs. They just made them a little bit less quote-unquote ugly according to them. They've gotten rid of that kind of urbanish camouflage and replaced it with kind of a basic green camouflage. And they've made it look like the insurrectionists have spray painted over the UNSC logo, which actually on the front you can actually see the logo through it. I don't know if it's supposed to be the case or not, but it is. And the Warhawks seem to handle a little bit differently to me. I'm not sure if that's just me, but at higher speeds they seem a little bit easier to tip over. So before we go down there, there's a couple last things I want to show you. The Jet's DLC sensor suite, like I said, that's been changed. I actually forgot to spawn in a Jet when I set this up, so I'll have to show that to you guys in Blood Gulch or something. We've got the elephants. We've got a static version, which is this version right here. Actually, I want to get around on the other side. Oh, wait, what was that? Was the refuelability already in here? As you can see, the physics on these things is really weird. I could have swore I saw like a refuel icon. Maybe I was just seeing things. It may have been because I was switching around really fast or something. Anyways, you can tell the static version apart from the non-static version by the fact that there's like the Insurrectionist Fist holding the Bohemia Interactive logo, and then something about Wilk's mom. And then you've got the standard one here, which just says, oh, it's Wilk's Angry Mom is the other one. So, yeah, Wilk's Angry Mom is an elephant. That one doesn't have the Bohemia Interactive logo. Now, the non-static version is completely broken. It's caused crashing for some people. It's supposed to... I've heard somebody say they've gotten it to drive... Oh, there's that fuel logo. So, yeah, you can refuel. These actually do work for refueling, I guess, then. That's pretty neat. They're supposed somebody did say they got to drive. I haven't gotten that. There's a gunner and commander position. Those both appear under the... Actually, I think all three positions, when you turn out, appear under the elephant. You don't actually see anybody standing inside the elephant in any of the positions when they're held, so really broken. You know, it is what it is. Alright, so while we're driving, you guys are going to be wondering, wow, what is this map? Is it included in the version 0.15. It is not. This is Planet Gulch from the Halo books. It's a map I'm working on currently. It's still very early work in progress, so it's not available on Steam. I've got a Dropbox link I posted in the Reddit a while ago. If you go through the Reddit, you can find it in there. It's not super frequently updated, but like this version you're seeing right here is already kind of out of date to what I've got in game. Because there's already a bunch of this stuff that I've kind of gone back and filled in with some of the new assets. And then I'm having trouble getting some of the assets into the map editor right now. So we've got a couple different buildings. So like right here we've got a marketplace, which is based off the ODST Nature Reserve building that you do the firefight from. This was kind of that centric building. This is still work in progress, so I'd imagine like these blue tile textures and these ground textures probably will be replaced at a later point. We go up here. There's nothing up here, but this is a really high vantage point. I was actually surprised because it doesn't feel like it's that high when you're going up that incline there, because it's not that steep of an incline. But once you actually get up here, you realize this is a pretty good vantage point. I mean, it's not quite the highest building you've ever seen, but it's definitely up there. That building next to us, I won't be able to show it off fully here, but it's pretty neat. It uses some of the new interior hallway assets. They've added some new assets which are similar to the frigate hallways and stuff, where it's just a bunch of random pieces so you can kind of make your own interior, except for they're designed to be a ground building. The only downside it's really to them is that there isn't any walls or anything, so you'd have to figure out something for like exterior walls to them. And there's some shadow issues with some of it, it looks like, but I'll show off some of it to you here. The upstairs portion on this is a lot more complex, but there is no way upstairs without actually like getting into Zeus and spawning a guy up there or something. And as you can see, it doesn't necessarily get rid of all the clutter in here for some reason. But yeah, this gives you kind of an idea of actually some of the assets. I guess I could just go into Gcam and show you guys, so let's do that. So get rid of this. So yeah, like I started to say, I'm a little bit disappointed in this update because we've waited a year for this update, and a lot of this stuff was not recent. A lot of this stuff's been done for a pretty good while. I think these were pretty quickly added. The MA37 was very recent, but like the MA5Bs and C and stuff, which is a big part of this update, has been done for a while. The Bisons have been done for months. The Scorpion was done for months. So it's kind of disappointing to see how much of that's been done for a while and then to have to wait for a year for this update and just to realize most of the stuff that's in this update's been done for quite a while. It was started fairly recently. I know the elephants were started a while ago, and then they were kind of put on the back burner for a while. But, you know, then there was a bunch of stuff removed, which I'll talk about a little bit later here. So yeah, this is a really cool interior, though. I like the, trying to think, the modular design of these hallways and stuff. I've seen some creative stuff come out of the hallways for the frigate. I'm sure people are going to do some really cool stuff with these for actual ground buildings and stuff. I'm trying to figure out if I can somehow implement them into this map. The building itself is kind of broken, though. You can see there's some clipping and stuff there, but not clipping, but just unfinished geometry, I guess is what that would be. So anyways, let's go ahead and go on. We gotta finish our trip to the airport here so I can kind of go back. I'm kind of jumping around here. This update was fairly big. There might be something I missed. If there is, I do apologize. But yeah. So while we keep going, I'll kind of keep talking about some of my thoughts on this. So anyways, like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed with how much of this took a year, and I know that a lot of this stuff didn't take a year to do. And the fact that there was stuff removed, like the jetpack was removed because it wasn't supposed to be in 0.14, and it was unfinished. Well, the jetpack never got finished in that year, so they removed it. Well, they removed it because it was broken and had performance issues, which it didn't really cause any issues for most people. Yeah, and it was difficult to use, and people got hurt a lot using it. Not everybody, but a lot of people did. But to see that removed and then them keep the elephant in, or add the elephant in, and it causes crashing and all this other stuff, and it's not drivable, and all these other issues with it, doesn't really make any sense. It's really cool. I like that they added the static elephant. I mean, that makes sense, but that one doesn't cause crashing and stuff. But to remove one thing and say, well, it had bad performance, but then add another where it actually causes game crashes, doesn't make any sense. Okay, last time I climbed this ladder, that didn't happen. Unless I climbed the other side. I climbed the other side, I guess. That's really weird. So this ladder is kind of borked. The ladder's backwards or something, I guess. Hopefully I... Oh, no. So, that sucks. Anyways, these ladders are climbable now. They weren't climbable before, so that's kind of nice. They added Wargames equipment for PvP. I'm not really sure what that equipment is. I couldn't figure it out. The flags are still the same. I know they added some buildings to the Blood Gulch map, which you'll see. But most of what I've seen isn't necessarily what I'd call Wargames equipment, so I don't really know what they're talking about unless there's something I couldn't find, like the Halo Type 14 bomb or something. I don't know. The military wall hub had no collision, so let's run over there, see if I can. I got one over here in the corner, see if I can find that. So the wall hub, the military wall is this green wall here. The wall hub is a little corner piece, kind of like that, except for it's just an independent piece that's not actually on the corner. It's just this one right here where you can place it down, then you can connect, you know, walls 4 ways up to it if you wanted to. So that's got collision now. The M7 SMG and the M73 light machine gun have been re-added into Arsenal. So these got removed from Arsenal. You couldn't get in there into an Arsenal and actually add these. The only way you could get them was to get them off of a person or something like that. So here you can see they're back in the game. Other than that, no changes have been made to these as far as I can tell, so that's fine though. These were both really solid weapons. These both worked really well in previous versions. I haven't played around with them in combat again, so I don't know if any changes beyond that has been made to them that wasn't mentioned in patch notes, but yeah, of course the other scopes, but like I said, that's the case for all the weapons. No. Solid weapon platforms though, glad to see that. And then let's keep going here. New and improved titles for the soundtrack. So I'm not going to play any of the soundtrack stuff because obviously they'll get my channel dinged. They are custom soundtracks, but apparently they're close enough to the original soundtracks where YouTube actually recognizes them for me, and I just don't want to risk it. Even with the changes might have fixed that for me, but I'm not taking the chance on that sort of thing. So let's keep going. ODST clan selection was upside down. So I've got a clan logo on, so let's see if this actually works, because last time I tried this, I didn't know if I had it on or not, and it seems I should have, but I didn't see it, so I don't think this was fixed. I think it got removed on accident. Yeah, because I should have a clan logo right there, and it's not there at all, so that's completely borked. Some people were saying that these logos still have clipping. That was supposed to be fixed. So that's also pretty disappointing to see that's not the case. So none of the logo stuff works quite correctly as it is, not as they claim it was supposed to. I don't know if there's testing done on this update or not. I mean, I got kind of bash on the devs a little bit here. I understand how hard it is to do this stuff. I understand how long it takes, and that they're trying to balance this out with jobs and other real-life interests and other stuff. You know, working on my own map like this, I understand how long it takes in the troubleshooting, but you know, to take so long on these updates and then go, well, we do that because we want it to be, you know, quality, and then not have that quality there, to have all these bugs and issues. It's kind of frustrating. They say, well, you know, we test it out, it's fine, but that's because they just test it out within the group of, you know, 5 or 6 of them or whatever, instead of trying to send it out to like a few people within the community who they know could keep their mouths shut and just not share it, like maybe like Chamberlain or something, a few other people. So it's kind of frustrating to see all these bugs and issues. Beyond that, let's take a look here. Some buildings had bug shadows. So like I said, that was mostly fixed for the most part. There's still a couple bug shadow issues going on. Some buildings that are kind of like translucent. You can see that this building here, when we were a little bit closer to it, had some bug shadows. That stuff I'm sure will get fixed at some point. It'll probably be next year when they roll out the next update. We'll see. ACE compatibility bug requirement, it's gone, so that's kind of nice. That was something that always popped up. I'm just used to errors in Arma now. Most of them, usually when you get that sort of thing, don't really have a huge effect anyways, so not too worried about that. A bunch of building collision issues. Yeah, most of the buildings had collision issues after the last update, so a lot of that's been fixed. I haven't gone through and actually tested them or shot them, but it seems to be fixed from what they say, so we'll assume that's the case. Most of them, at least. Some buildings could be shot through. That's kind of in there with the collision issues. Some vending machines were sunken into the ground. Don't know if I noticed that ever when I was placing the vending machines, but still, if that was the case, that's a nice fix. Let's see here. Warehouse ladders weren't working. We covered that already. Buildings had bug shadows. We covered that. HUD. This is going to be probably one of the more sour points for a lot of folks. So the Times 64 update that Arma did broke the HUDs. Is probably everybody watching this video at this point knows, unless this is your first time finding out about Optre. The HUD for the ODST helmet, you basically could press a button with the ODST helmet, or if you had one of these HUD eyepieces or something like that, and it would load up a HUD, and it had, you know, working compass in the top, and you could get cameras and stuff depending on the version of your HUD. The one eyepiece HUD was kind of stripped down, but that one was fine. But yeah, you had these different HUDs, and they ended up getting removed. So that was pretty frustrating. So they basically said they must now be enabled manually via keybinds. That's not accurate. They have been completely removed. There is a command code line you can get from Big Wilk, or that he posted on the news section of the Discord, I believe, on how to fix this. So you basically go in and you can go into a module or something if you're creating a mission, or you go into your command line for the game, and you're able to add the HUD back in that way. But you can't manually add it back in via keybinds, which is pretty annoying, to be perfectly blunt. Oh, got some wall issues going on there. Need to fix that. Anyways, so yeah, that's a big thing for a lot of people. There's a lot of ODST fans, and probably even some non-ODST units that are going to be kind of miffed about that, because you know, there's, like I said, these glasses should have HUDs, the marine eyepieces should have HUDs, and well, there's other HUDs replacements that you can do from like Shack Tack and stuff. They just don't feel very Halo. They're not as authentic, and that's a big thing for this mod, is authenticity for the most part. You know, there's a couple points where they go, okay, yeah, this isn't necessarily air appropriate or whatever, we're going to do it anyways because it looks a little bit better and makes more sense, but those instances are pretty rare. I did forget to mention these ships in the background here. These were recently added. These were added by Big Wilk. I don't know exactly what he's working on, but he's working on some mining stuff, presumably for his New Horizons map, I would guess. I'm not positive. These are just static objects. They don't fly, unfortunately, but they're pretty cool looking. We've got two versions of this, basically. We've got the BTX, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, CEYX, and then the BTX Hera, which is basically a version without these cargo pods on it. So then we've got more of the tweak stuff, so I'm kind of jumping around a lot here. Now this one's a sour point for me personally. It's kind of a catch-22, is vehicles. Vehicles can now be customized using the VHC Virtual Garage setup. Redundant classes have been left for compatibility's sake, but can no longer be placed in Eden. That is really annoying to me, because most of my stuff I do in Eden, because I'm not a big mission maker. You know, it's nice to be able to say, hey, I want to set up, you know, a little scene for pictures or whatever, or just to play around. I want, you know, like the golden warthog right next to like a black and yellow warthog, and then have, you know, a couple different colors of whatever. You know, now instead, if I want to do that, I have to go into the virtual garage. I'm not sure what VHC is, unfortunately. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm sure I'll get corrected on that by somebody, and they'll be like, oh yeah, well you can access that doing this or that, but for sake of ease, it doesn't really work out. It doesn't make any sense. Alright, see, yep, we can tip the warthog if we're going fast enough now. I used to not be able to do that. At any rate, so that's really frustrating to see that that capability was removed. I understand why they did that, because there was so many different warthogs and stuff in here. You know, that the title was just getting bogged down. I mean, especially with like the Opcan stuff active, there was just so much stuff to go through. I understand why they did it, but it does make it a little bit on the frustrating side when you're trying to access this stuff quickly and you have to like go back and forth to get these different loadouts activated properly. You know, they just can't be placed quickly. I don't know if you can do that from like Zeus or something, if you'll still be able to access it or how that's going to work, but it is, it's pretty frustrating. So, reduce shininess of the Longsword. So I forgot to place aerial vehicles, like I said, so we'll probably check out the Longsword on a different map. And I'll get in there and show you guys the new and updated cockpit. They did fix the Longsword too. They don't mention that on here. You couldn't get into the Longsword unless you used some kind of trickery from, like enhanced movement, I think it was, where you could get in that way. Or it was enhanced interaction, but you can get back into the Longsword again just naturally through like native Arma scroll wheel. So that's cool. Bumblebee interior collision to prevent head clipping. I should have shown that to you guys while we were down there. That one's probably not too big of a deal to most of you. Most people don't really make use of the Bumblebee. It's a good set piece. It could definitely be interesting for a mission. I'd love to have a mission start off where you're like crashing a Bumblebee and you wake up and you're injured and stuff, and you have to like find, you know, medical supplies scattered around or something. Would be kind of neat. So give me a second. I just got to scroll down just a tad bit here. So remove the old gray MA5B. So this one's, like I said, this one's going to be a sour point for a lot of people, because that means the smart link scopes are gone, like I mentioned. The versions without the iron sights on the ammo counter is removed, which, like I said, it's not really an efficient thing to do in Arma, but for authenticity for a lot of people, that's going to be a sour point for a lot of folks. Ace dependency was removed. I don't know why there was an ace dependency, because it's never was dependent on ace. I'm guessing that's what the ace compatibility bug was from. I don't know for sure. Maybe that was just a mistake that was added in. Optre tag for items and weapons has been removed, and redundant container buildings has been removed. I'm not sure which one that is. And then known issues, HUD consistently causes crashes on 64-bit. So that was the big thing. That was the big thing we were expecting fixed in this update, and it's not fixed. So Wilk has shed a little bit more light. He basically says he knows what the issue is. He just doesn't know of an easy fix to get that working again. He said that there's a very good possibility he would have to rebuild the HUD from the ground up to fix that issue. And he said if that's the case, that he probably wouldn't be able to do that until he's on winter break. So we'd be waiting for quite a while for that. So we might not see the HUD come back. Like I said, they did give us, in the meantime, for those willing to use 32-bit for the HUD, he did give us a method to reactivate it. So we'll see. I guess we'll see how that works. In the meantime, there's other community members trying to fix the HUDs, see if there's stuff they can do, trying to step up to bat as far as that goes. But, you know, Wilk already knows what the issue is, and if he says it's going to take a while and it's going to be really difficult, I trust him. He's the guy who built the HUDs. So that's all the patch notes, at least as far as the Reddit post. I didn't check the changelog in the actual release, so I'm guessing it's probably the same. So I'm going to keep talking a little bit more about how I feel about the mod. Where some of my frustrations kind of come from is from the not only lack of communication on the devs' part, but the contradictory communications. I don't know if they're not communicating with each other or what, because just a few days before this release, I was told we're going to be keeping the old assault rifles because those will have the grenade launchers. Well, you know, they couldn't have added grenade launcher to the new MA5s in just a couple days, gotten that working in-game, and released the update. That had to have been there when that guy said that. So I don't really understand why that was supposedly the case. So we're going to go ahead and check out Sandstorm here. This is one of the 2 new maps they added. Both of these are supposed to be PvP-oriented maps. Another issue I have is a lack of clear direction from the dev team, and I understand that there's a lot of just different devs with different skill sets and varying levels of skill. They're contributing right now, and they're all wanting to do different things, kind of do their own things, and do things within what their abilities are. But there's a lack of general direction, because we're getting like the Scorpion, and it's like, okay, we got the Scorpion, and we got the Bison, so we've got some armor, but then we've got some new assault rifles, but then we're doing like PvP stuff in this too, but we're also doing stuff for this map that's not out yet, and we're going to do this and that. It makes no sense. So we've got these 2 PvP maps, and we've got, you know, Blood Gulch, and we've got these new assets, and we've got this vehicle spawning system that you can use, but we don't have any PvP game modes they added. I'm not a content creator. I know that there's people in the community who have created PvP game modes before, but if they really wanted to have people doing PvP, which would be really neat, like I said, I'd like to see that, they should have released this with some game modes. They should have had Capture the Flag, and they should have had a better one than some of the community members could have made, where it's you actually pick up the flag and you actually have the flag with you, because I've seen that done before by my own community in the 17th. On Altis, but yeah, that would have been really cool to use the Optre assets, because our version didn't have that. Our version just used the standard Altis, or not Altis, but Arma assets. But yeah, to take the flags and stuff in here and actually have people be able to hold the flag and do like one-sided capture the flag or something would be really cool. Using the Fury nuke, basically having like the static version and the backpack version if you could. I don't know if that would be possible, but that would be really cool. Yeah, so that's part of my frustration, is the lack of clear direction and communication on part of the dev team. You know, they're not really communicating with the community on what's going on with assets and stuff like that. And I understand that there's cases when they don't know what's going on themselves or whatever. But if they were a little bit clearer with the community, maybe all the frustration from this update wouldn't be there. You know, people would understand what's going on a little bit better, and they wouldn't be so angry when stuff didn't work out quite as planned. Because, you know, like, I was hoping for the M247 machine gun, which thankfully Opcan was happy enough to provide their Reach version of that, but I was waiting for the Halo 2 version with the tripod and static mounts. And I just recently found out the guy who was working on that left, or kind of disappeared, HK Urban, and so nobody really knows what's going on with that, if he's coming back or what. But we'll probably not be seeing that, but no one mentioned that until just recently, and it was just kind of like an offhanded thing. So a little bit clearer communication would be nice, kind of going back to more consistent updates. And I know the devs say that, you know, it's hard, they find the time and stuff to write out an update, which I don't really understand why that is the case. But it really shouldn't be. You know, if they don't want to mention, you know, release dates and stuff, that's fine. I can understand that. And yeah, I understand delays and stuff where that comes in, but just communicate, hey, we're getting delayed by this or that. This is what's causing the delays. This is what we're running into. You know, this is what we're working on, this is what we expect. You know, of course it's not guaranteed, you know, as long as they just kind of relay that. Heck, if they just had copy-paste disclaimer there, they could get away with that even. Let's go ahead, though, throw down the Longsword. And we're going to do this. Okay, I'm glad that fits there. Hopefully this doesn't blow up when I spawn in. So you can see it's a little bit less shiny. A little bit more accurate looking, I guess. So the changes to the Longsword, like I said, the big changes, you can get back in it. And then all the vehicles have had missions and stuff like that changed. So the Longsword and the Pelican are easier to target with lock-on weapons, whereas the Falcon and Hornet are more difficult. You can see the new HUD they've got in here. They've got the M134 minigun, the Cannon 30mm. So that changes depending on what I have selected. Don't go, don't go, don't go. 1,000-pound bomb, laser-guided bomb, Argent AA missiles, AGMs. So some pretty cool stuff there. We're going to go ahead and get out. So getting back in can be kind of tricky fighting in the right spot. But that was the case before, so that's okay. I mean, it's a large vehicle, so... And it's not something that you're going to necessarily be like, we gotta scramble in like half a second. I do notice, though, the ramp seems to be gone. I didn't really pay attention to that. That's why I got back in. I went to check to see if that was still there. So that's kind of disappointing. They took the animation for the ramp away. I don't know if that was breaking it or something, but... Yeah, more stuff taken away from the mod. Don't really understand why. Okay, well... so that's that. That's Sandstorm. One of the problems with PvP and Arma, though, is the size of the maps and stuff. I kind of showed this off. I recorded this video, but I wanted to go back and redo it. Is if there's a guy all the way over there, unless you're using a scope or you're actively looking for people over on the edges, he would just look like a small speck over there. And then actually engaging him at that range, you can lay down and stuff, but then he's going to lay down. That makes you both even more difficult targets. So, it doesn't necessarily work out, and it's kind of tricky because Arma doesn't do close quarters super well. But you kind of almost need to have close quarters to force combat. Hopefully when these game modes, people start developing game modes. Big Wilk had mentioned that he was probably going to start developing a multiplayer PvP game mode. Hopefully when they're doing one-sided stuff, so one-sided capture the flag, one-sided assault, and stuff like that. Because that will force confrontation. It'll be a little bit better. You know, and just because somebody's a defender doesn't necessarily mean they'll have the advantage. You know, one side could still be kind of sneaky or just go all out and still be able to win. But let's go ahead and check out Blood Gulch, and then we'll talk about some of the other stuff on Blood Gulch. We'll kind of talk about Opcan, because Opcan had a lot of updates. So Blood Gulch is the other map that was added. And it's actually really awesome. I do like Blood Gulch. This is probably my favorite part of the update just because it feels so Halo. It is missing some of the stuff Big Wolk was going to work on. You can see there's a planet up in the upper right corner of this screenshot here. I know Wolk was trying to add it. The asset's in the game, but for some reason it's not on the map. And I guess probably because it's an actual model. And I don't know. It doesn't work. I'm trying to figure out skyboxes from my own map, see if it works, and it's kind of a tricky thing. He did have some early screenshots with that on there, and just it's not here. But that's fine. You know, it's not needed for this map to be awesome. So this is a fairly small map. I thought this was actually going to be part of a larger map that had several multiplayer maps, and you could just change from location to location on the map, dependent on the game mode, but that's actually not the case, and it's actually causing some lag. I don't understand why. So it's pretty small, relatively speaking. It's definitely scaled up compared to the original Blood Gulch. But, you know, once again, that's Arma. Arma is a longer range game. But it's quite faithful to the original version. You've got your center hill here. You've got the ridgeline here. You've got your tunnels and caves over here. No pool of water in this one. Or was it this one that was supposed to have it? Yeah, it was the other one that should have had that pool of water, but... I don't know what the elevations are on this. Probably be pretty difficult to get without having it look really weird. But still, it's quite faithful to the original. It is a lot bigger. Got some barracks here. These are just empty right now. There is two versions, one with computers and one that's like an actual barracks version that seems to have no collision on it that's in here. We're going to go ahead and spawn in, let's say, a bison. And I'll show off this vehicle lift. Yeah, I showed off video of this in the last update, I think, or the one before that. This vehicle is kind of cool. It is an asset that you can get, but once again, I don't really know how much use anybody's going to realistically get off of this this particular asset. I hate having the AI drive.
Solid copy.
Because in order to actually use these, you have to have a hole in the ground for this to work. Okay, and you can actually rearm and do all this stuff on the lift, but we don't want to do that. So you can see, it's actually a pretty good elevator. I did still experience some clipping on this, but even as a person on the elevator, it still worked pretty well. So it closes up like that, despawns the vehicle, and that'll lift back up. So this isn't super fast, so I mean, you know, if you're doing this in a multiplayer game, it's going to be kind of tricky. But it does need to move kind of slower just to work as an elevator. I'm guessing this is probably independent to each of these. I don't know. There is a module setting which I haven't played around with to work these, so maybe these modules are all still attached. Let's find out. Doesn't seem to be. That one's almost back off, so we'll run back here and check this out. So there's the bison. I don't know why there's two menus. I don't know if you can just order up two vehicles at one time, or like one's to deposit, one's to switch out when it goes down. I'm not sure. But this will go down in a second. I haven't written it down until it closes, but kind of tempted to here. Well, we know what'll happen. We know that bison's going to spawn. So we're going to get on here. And we're going to ride this down. It is kind of, like I said, it's not perfect. There's some flaws with it if you're a person. I guess if you run around, it actually works a little bit better. Alright, move off to the side here. We're going to see how this works from in here. So there's our bison. So I can't actually get into it while it's going up the lift. So I guess you can't have any sneak attacks where you just make it look like you called in a bison and nobody got in it, and just like actually have somebody in the gunner turret until somebody gets close. Alright, so yeah, once it fully goes up, then you can actually get in it. So that's pretty neat, though. I like that. It's definitely one of the neater features. We've got the base here. We saw some screenshots of this. I've shown off a few times. So it's kind of hard to tell the size and scale of this base. It's fairly large. You've got that open bottom interior piece. There's doors here. This has an interior, but those doors don't open. I'm not sure if that's borked or if that's just how it's supposed to be. It's hard to tell sometimes, especially with this particular update with all the flaws and bugs in it. Yeah, once again, just stating that while I appreciate the update and the effort put into it, there is a lot of frustration around this. Hopefully the devs understand why that is, and hopefully they kind of learn from it. Maybe if they communicate a little bit better with us what's going on, people will be a little bit more understanding as to why we've had most of the update stuff that's been done for quite a while or was done by like a single dev. But yeah, pretty neat stuff up here. Let's go ahead and we're going to go back into the editor, but we're not going to leave Blood Gulch. I'm going to show you guys off the Opcan stuff. So this is from Opcan. This is a separate mod. I usually get a lot of people asking about this. I know there's a lot of people who watch these videos who know exactly what Opcan is. They know the difference between Opcan and Optre, but that's not everybody. So Opcan's a separate mod. This is an add-on mod. It's available on Steam. It's OPCAN. It's made by a former Optre developer, and he's been working on this for quite a while, almost as long as the mod's been around. So he's added quite a few things. We have the Halo 3 Marines in this. I've shown that all off before. He has updated this to work with the current update. It doesn't require Optre Z, although from when I did load it up here, it did say I needed Optre Z. It doesn't require it to work. So let's see here. Where's our standard rifleman? There we go. Most of his units seem to use the MA37 right now, so I don't know if he just changed it over temporarily to have most of them using. He's going to go back and change them to use more variety or not. But like the Army troops are now using the MA37s, which is accurate, and that's pretty neat to see. So it's kind of cool to have like the guys from the Army using the MA37 and then throw in the standard Optre Marines and having them use the MA5Bs or Cs. But that's not what we want to talk about. So there's been a lot of stuff he's been adding as far as content goes. So he's gone beyond just retexturing units now. The Opcan used to be a really big retexture pack, and it just added a lot of variety for the units. But he's actually really solidifying his mod's place as required content almost for Optre. It isn't technically required, but it would be silly not to use it. So let me see if I can find this stuff, because I don't know exactly where most of it's kept. Let's see if I search barrier, maybe. Oh, well, it helps if I spell the word barrier right. I can't remember exactly what this was called. I did find this stuff in the map editor last night. I don't see it. I'm not exactly sure where it is in the standard game, because the standard game and the map editor don't exactly match up. So it might actually be listed under the units stuff. I don't know. Let's see here. I know the police had one, so if we go into Colonial Police, not seeing it though. Should be under props, I'd imagine, so I just have to look around here for a second, see if we can't find it. Okay, here it is. The Mark 86 Barricade is the first thing we need. Oh, I keep forgetting. I want to hit enter every time I type that stuff in, and that always puts me in game, and I still forget that. So we're going to wait for this to load up. Of course, there's not any units down there, so it's not going to work out properly. So these barriers are something I've been waiting for a while, because these are a big thing in Halo. You see these all over the place from Halo 1 to Halo 3. I think you even see a different version of them in Halo 4, but I can't remember for sure. But those things are really neat. I definitely like these. Let's see. There was an armory too, but I can't remember if they called it an armory or not. So this is a little bit tougher to find some of this stuff. It definitely helps to actually remember the name, which I can't do. It could be under Optre stuff. I don't think it is though. Well, while I'm looking around for this, I'll show off some of the other Optre stuff that's new, if I can find any of it in here, which I'll more than certainly run across some of it. Prefab raised platform, that's new. We've got vehicle lift, that's of course new, but like I said, this won't get used unless there's a hole in the ground somewhere you can use it. RS console door, this is new. This is just a console for doors. It doesn't do anything as far as I know. Maybe later it'll get some added functionality. MREs for props. Monuments old. There's the modular barracks interiors. We've got 2 of the modular barracks. We've got like a desert one. We've got a snow camoed one is what this is supposed to be. Kind of works for urban too. It stands out a lot more in this environment, so it doesn't work out quite as great here. I'm not seeing this. There's the elephant, which we've already shown off. There's the flags, which have been in. The BG Armory is the red and blue base. You can actually sink this into the ground pretty far, so you could just have like a really basic one like this, where it's way down here, and get rid of that basement completely to go for a more old school red and blue base. It's almost a shame we can't just do that ourselves on this map, because that's already there. It'd be kind of neat to just have like both versions where this is up here and down here like this for more old school and new school versions. I'm not seeing it though. I can't remember. I know it's in here somewhere, but it's called Armory. I might have spelled it wrong. It might be with like a U they added in there. It should have showed up. Could be under anything in here, so I might have to skip that. I don't remember if I showed off the completed version. I know I showed off the work in progress version to you guys before. We might have to settle for that, I'm thinking. Because I can't remember what's under. There is some stuff in here, though, I want to show off to you guys, and that is the interior pieces we've got to those hallways. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've also got ice rocks. So this is part of a winter map. We don't know too much about it, but Wilk is working on some sort of winter map. I don't know if it's going to be based off of like an actual Halo multiplayer map like Avalanche or something like that, or if they're just kind of doing their own thing. But they've got a lot of different ice rocks. He teased off some snow effects he was working on. It sounded like rain so far, but that was an early version of it. It definitely looked like snow though. So we've got a bunch of ice rocks. We've got hangars for that interior building. So just like the frigate, it looks really weird from most angles. That's intended to be like the interior of the building. I don't know. So, and this is designed to go together like this. I don't know which version was which that I did. Yeah, that was 2. So there's 2 doors next to each other for some reason. I don't know quite why there's a door set up like the way they are, but they are set up like that. But this is kind of how that hangar looks. It's a little bit funky looking, I guess. But it's still nice to have a hangar for like ground buildings that you can like land your fighters and stuff in. Set up a ground base with hallways. Not sure what this is. There's a cliff wall blunt is what this is called. This is just a really square piece that looks like dirt or something. Mud. Not quite sure what the effect of that will be. And I'm thinking we need to give up on this armory stuff. Pretty sure it's just called Armory though. I might have just spelled it wrong. So it might be spelled like Wilk has it. Of course I could just be wrong about what it's called. Or it could have been removed too. Like, kinda doubt that. They're all UNSC stuff too, but should see it in here, and I'm not. So we're gonna go ahead and skip over that. We're gonna get back to the Opcan stuff here. So we've got these new barriers here. These are in the props, as you guys saw. They are Mark 86 barricades. We've got the Colonial Guard version, or the Colonial Guard Authority, the Colonial Police Department, the Rebels version, and the UNSC version. Like I said, these are based off of the barrier seen from like Halo 1 to Halo 3. It's worked out really well with people, so let's go ahead and get a guy in here. A couple guys even. Oh. It's like, why am I not seeing people? Because I'm not in the right section. So as you can see, it covers pretty much the whole body. It's perfect for just shooting over with minimal body being exposed. You should be able to set up on this. I haven't tried that yet, but I'd imagine you can actually prop your weapon on that. And this also works kind of well. I don't know, I actually killed the guy that I tried this with, but it's perfect height, so it should work. With the new addition here, if I can find it, it's under UNSCDF, under turrets. You know, I said the M247 got added in by Burgess for Opcan. This is the M247H. This is the Halo Reach version. I think I've talked about this maybe. I'm not sure. There's a lot of stuff I kind of skipped over that I was going to talk about as far as updates go. I just never got around to releasing the videos for that. This is that M247. It's kind of a slow-firing weapon, but this thing is devastating. I threw one of these down against probably about 15 guys versus this one unit, and this unit wiped all of them out. It is a little bit weird trying to kill this guy, though. I want to actually demonstrate that to you guys here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take over the rifleman here. I don't know. I heard this was an accidental release. I don't know if that's actually the case or not, but I am happy to have this. I've been waiting for this for a while. So, you can see why this is probably so difficult for people to kill him. I just unloaded a whole clip. I don't know what causes this, but it seems the collision's not set up right. I don't know if it's just not recognizing the guy is actually sitting there and he's seeing someone else, but you shoot this and he dies. So in order to take this out, if you're facing one of these, for right now, you need to shoot the weapon emplacement itself. M247 HMG on the texture there. Yeah, this thing's really cool. Let me hop on here. The only thing I don't... Oh, yeah, you know what? That's right. It also kills the turret. I forgot about that. So you can't... when you actually kill somebody off of this, you can't use the turret either right now. It's kind of weird. The only thing I really don't like about this is that shield looks too small. I haven't looked at the picture for the actual thing in a while. It just felt like it was bigger. That could be because I've been looking at pictures of the older version, which does have bigger shielding, but it doesn't really work out for Arma again. You know, just bear in mind, some things that work out for Halo don't work so great for Arma. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to test this thing out against some guys here so you guys can get an idea of its firepower, and then we'll probably wrap the video up. So what are future plans for the mod while we're getting this stuff set up? Well, that's a good question. We don't know. Like I said, the problem with the mod is that they don't really communicate a lot of stuff to us. We know that they maybe not will try to fix the HUD at some point here. You know, we know they've got a flamethrower as a work in progress, but we have no idea what the status of that flamethrower is. So it's hard to say what will happen with that. You know, let's go ahead and actually let's go back real quick. Get rid of this. Get rid of this guy. I'm gonna take this. And we're gonna test these out against this thing here. Give these guys a little bit more cover than they had last time when I was testing this out, because they didn't have a lot of cover when I was playing. They're basically out on their own. I've got the snapping on too. Get rid of that. And we're gonna throw down a whole bunch of guys here. I don't want battle jumpers. We just want some normal guys. Let's go with the Halo Wars Rebels. Rebel Squad. Rebel Squad will work. But these won't work by themselves. These guys will definitely get mowed down. Oh. Helps if I copy it. So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen with the mod next. Presumably there's going to be a lot of bug fixes and stuff. There's, like I said, there's bugs that the devs have not encountered that other people are encountering. So they're working on trying to narrow those down and actually get that sorted out and fixed. He could turn around and get these guys. Well, maybe he won't be able to. Nope, there it goes. We will get the advantage of actually getting to like look at these people though. So I don't know what their plans are. We know that they have the katana as a work in progress. We know the flamethrower is a work in progress, that they're working on the mines. We had the static machine gun mounts from ODST that would have taken Warthog emplacements. We don't know what's going on with those. Oh, you know, I'm guessing I probably, yeah, I don't have any stuff, so we're just going to have to deal with this. That's going to deafen us in a second anyways. You can see it's not very fast firing, but he's just devastating them. I don't know if that's because they're actually trying to aim at the person or if they're just getting mowed down before they can actually hit him. Now, bear in mind, that could just be because of the issue I showed you guys where you actually had to shoot him. You can see all the rounds collecting there at the base. That's pretty neat. So we're going to go ahead and throw it in Gcam and check this out. We're going to keep talking for a second here. So he's stopped firing. He has already killed all but a few guys. There's still a few guys left alive over there, but not many. So yeah, I do hope going forward, I know the devs watch this, and I don't want them to think that I'm hating on them or anything, but I do hope that they do communicate with us a little bit more going forward, a little bit more frequent updates, especially when there's a lot of new community people coming in, especially now that there's been a release. There's going to be a big influx of new community people finding out about this. So hopefully they just have the foresight to communicate a little bit better with everybody. And they got a sniper up here. He's just trying to keep his head down here. Oh, out of control camera. He's just down there doing his own thing. He's not seeing these guys left alive. There he goes. He found some new targets, so he's going to keep shooting at them. But they're trying to keep their heads down. Oh, there goes another one. Light machine gunner. Snipers. No, he died. He was down. It looked like he was going to survive that, but he died. There's another guy in front of the sniper. Snipers. Really lucky. He keeps missing that sniper for some reason. I don't know if that's... No, there he goes. He couldn't last forever, though. He was being really brazen about trying to shoot him. There's a couple more guys. So, yeah, you can just see these turrets devastate people. It's insane. I thought one of the snipers got away, but maybe he didn't. Is anybody left alive? Not seeing movement. I think they killed everybody. I haven't tested this against vehicles, though. I'm kind of curious how it'll work against vehicles. So there's definitely a lot of bugs and stuff that need to be fixed here in Optre, Opcan 2. It looks like with that turret is the big thing with them. They do have that armory piece. I couldn't find it. It is somewhere in there. I don't know right offhand. I'm fairly certain it hasn't been removed or anything like that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make this even tougher on him because I am genuinely curious if he's just invincible on there because of something or if we can actually get this guy killed. So let's see. What can we throw in? Scorpion tank. Okay. Scorpion tank has to be able to kill this guy. If the Scorpion tank can't kill him, then nothing will. The Scorpion tank is kind of weird when it comes to killing stuff. You actually have to basically have it move up on the target before it'll kill it. But once it gets close to a target, it will start going to town with its coaxial machine gun. And maybe it's just because I'm telling them to destroy around him. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. No, that can't be it. It seems that they're actually attached to destroy him. It's not. Okay, well, let's get this in here. Let's see how this Scorpion does. I might be in a bad spot for the Scorpion. Its coaxial machine gun's less than accurate when it starts going against all these people, but it only has one target, so we'll see. Yeah, look at that thing. Yeah. That's the snipers going to town there. See, they just look like they're not getting that close to him. Well, there's some blood there, so they actually hit him. I think that's from the Scorpion. Yeah, the Scorpion's fire is a lot heavier than these other guys. These other guys were getting suppressed by the machine gun. They're still not doing a lot of damage to him. There was a little bit of blood, so they did hit him, but they haven't done much. Scorpion seems to have actually gotten stuck on the barrier, and it can't move it. But it's throwing a lot of machine gun fire his way, so we'll see. I was going to say maybe these guys will be emboldened by the Scorpion, but a lot of them are still suppressed or just getting mowed down. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so yeah, he is killable. He just need a Scorpion tank to kill him. Wonder what would happen if I shot the Scorpion tank. Scorpion tanks take a lot to take him down, but this thing's... Oh yeah, because he died. Can't use it. That's right. So you guys saw what this takes. Anyways, that's the Opcan update. That's the Operation Trebuchet version 0.15. Bear in mind, if you're using Optre Z, don't use that anymore for right now. It will probably get some new stuff in the future. Maybe when the ammo counter goes live, we'll see that added in. Who knows? But yeah, just keep tuned for more Operation Trebuchet news. If any big news comes up, any major changes, the new patch, whatever, to hotfix this stuff, I'll go ahead and post about that then. In the meantime, just stay tuned. Follow the Reddit or Discord if you guys want more information there. And I'll see you guys around.